Moshi Moshi, and oh my gato! It's a Spazzetic studio! Welcome to Spazz After Dark! I have my emotional support Gengar. Me and emotional support Gengar would like to talk to you today about something that I've been meaning to talk about. Like, I knew I wanted to make this video, I just didn't know when. You're gonna hear Mochi in the background, okay? Just ignore him. I just didn't know when, and I woke up this morning with a significant sense of malaise because the weather has gotten colder here in Quebec, and I was like, seems like today's the day. I wanted to have a talk about like survivorship. If you've interacted with any of my content before, you have probably come across the intriguing tale of my giant stupid tumor. You're probably also aware of the fact that I'm in a cancer patient support group for young adults, and I am joining a post-treatment like group therapy group as well. I don't want to really get into it too much in this video because September and the end of August is really my like peak PTSD time. These are hard months. Once the weather changes, I'm reminded of a lot of things that I don't want to remember. So, the long and the short of it is, you can see my port scar. That's really funny. That's topical. The long and the short of it is, I had a tumor. The tumor was in the soft tissue sarcoma family, which is soft tissue cancer. You're probably familiar with Ewing sarcoma, if you know about cancers. I had a desmoid. A desmoid is a very strange tumor. It lacks the ability to metastasize. It is locally an aggressive fibromatosis. It is considered by some to be benign. It is considered by others to be malignant. No one can really agree. Usually when you Google it, it says that it's benign. The issue with that though is that like the treatments include chemo, radio, hormone therapies, cryoablations, which is what I had, we'll get to that, and in extreme cases of recurrence, because it's not a question of, for a lot of people, if it'll come back. Generally it does come back, it can't be operated, and so amputation is a risk. So yeah, it's not great. In terms of it being like simultaneously benign and not benign, it confuses a lot of people. I am also confused. It took like so many doctors to diagnose. It took, God, I don't even know, like 2 biopsies, 2 oncologists. Originally they thought it was just regular sarcoma, and then they were like, oh, perhaps not. I had my genes sequenced, I had my grandparents' genes sequenced, I had my parents' genes sequenced because it should be genetic. Turns out my genes just mutated and decided to grow a super mega tumor. When I had my hysterectomy, they biopsied it to see if there was some kind of like a link between like, because a tumor is basically cells that like don't break down, and so they can't interact with other cells and like dissipate. And so they were like, oh, maybe like that's why my uterus was like weird and deformed. We don't know. My oncologist thinks that most likely, because I had a resectioning, we'll get there, that like it will never come back. Usually if people have the gene and it's inherited and their parents have desmoids and they have desmoids, it'll come back, he said, but yours seems to have just been kind of a weird, spontaneous thing. I have a friend with pheochromocytoma. Pheo versus Fabulous. Go follow Miranda. She's amazing. She's my hero. I probably would not have made it this far into recovery without her. But yeah, pheochromocytoma was only considered malignant in the last 10 years. The first line treatment is chemo, and they are currently trying to repeal that because it turns out that like chemo makes that cancer worse. So the World Health Organization is constantly labeling and relabeling things. It's possible, who knows, that in 10 years maybe desmoids will like be just fully considered across the board universally malignant. I went through like, my God, 5 oncologists. There's only one hospital that will treat me. All other hospitals have rejected me. In Quebec, I tried Toronto, Ontario, and the UK, and the States, and they were like, yeah, no. This tumor is rare and weird and delicate, and we're not touching it, and we don't have the expertise. So Desmoids are a huge bitch. I had a cryoablation. My tumor was too big. I didn't qualify for radio or chemo. And so cryoablation is basically they like cryogenically freeze it while it's inside of you. And then over the period of a year, it's supposed to like shrink. They fucked mine up. They pierced my intestine and it was horrible. And I woke up one morning in a puddle of my own blood. And that kind of kicked off my 9-month adventure. And then the last like 2 or 3 months of that was exclusively palliative care. I was quoted everything from 12% chance of living to like, oh, we don't know. I was told like they consulted with so many, because like usually when you have a tumor, you have a tumor board. So whatever your doctor wants to do, they like go to the tumor board and they're like, hey, can I do this? And the tumor board kind of like discusses. In my case, there is no tumor board for desmoids, so they had to make one. And so I just saw a fucking parade of doctors. I saw so many doctors because no one knew what to do. They were like, we have never seen this combination of things: intestinal perforation, fistula, tumor. Tried to treat the tumor. They ripped a hole in me and almost killed me. And it was bad. So that happened. My cryoablation was the 30th of August of 2023. Exactly 2 weeks later in September, I went to the Emerge because I woke up in a pool of my own blood. So this is a delicate time for me. I don't like this time. When the weather changes, I get weird. It gets weird. Not in the fun, marketable way weird, in the other kind of way weird. The first kind of thing that happens around this turn of the season is an antsiness that I can't quite place. Just like it's almost as if there's like something that I have to do, but I've like forgotten that I have to do it. And so I'm like antsy, nervous, on edge. I feel like I'm expecting something. The first year that I was out and like, you know, they had fixed me and I had all of these surgeries and like I still had the colostomy bag, but life had sort of kind of begun to look a little normal. I remember like I had this feeling of like, oh, and now we have to do it again. Like, it's funny how PTSD plays that trick on you, where you feel like it's almost inevitable that you have to go through all that again. Obviously, I am on 2 SSRIs, so that does help. And like I do, you know, I go to group therapy and I have a psychiatrist and a cancer therapist and a regular therapist and a psychotherapist and a psychiatric nurse. So like, I have the tools, but I know that probably it's gonna be like it's the same shtick, right? When this sort of time of year happens, I'm kind of all over the place. But yeah, survivorship, like depression and anxiety, you don't have to have been like partially disemboweled to be like, I'm anxious. I meet a lot of my friends nowadays and find that like they're going through the most. And I don't like that a lot of them say like, oh, well, it's nothing compared to what you went through. Like, human suffering isn't a contest. You can have nothing bad going on in your life and be anxious and depressed, and it's like, that's valid. Have you seen the economy? Have you seen the state of the world? Have you seen the several genocides happening? Have you seen the fucking price of eggs? Why is a can of Dr. Pepper $7? One can, $7. Why is an Arizona iced tea $4? Like, that shit is enough to fucking make you weep. But it's like, yeah, like everyone has their own reason for being a puddle of tears on the floor, and like, it's fine. This video doesn't really have a point in the sense of like there isn't like one, like a central message that I want to share with you. It's more so just like an informal conversation about depression and anxiety. And I'll tell you like some things that I've learned in my travels and my journey, and maybe it'll help you. My entire life I've kind of had a brain that feels very much like it's against me. If you have any kind of like PTSD, CPTSD, or you've just, you've suffered any kind of abuse, you may like understand the sentiment of believing that maybe there is something deeply like wrong and evil about you, and you may be unwilling to accept help because you feel like if you let people close enough, they'll notice that like thing that you think is like wrong, that you're like too traumatized to be a friend, or too traumatized to be loved, etc. And like, it took me, how old am I now? I'm almost 28. It took me 27 years to have the epiphany that like, the only thing that is like, oh my God, hiding beneath the surface is the shitty actions of other people. Like, abuse or trauma doesn't make you bad inherently. It doesn't detract from your worth as a person. And like, these are things that sometimes we say like, oh, but I know that already. Logically, I know. And it's like, yeah, logically, I know. But have you considered if you know emotionally? The climate of the society that we live in, especially in North America, we're taught that like, doubling down on discipline is how we solve our problems. If you lose weight and you're more fit and you eat healthier and you study harder and you get a better job and you make more money and you hustle and grind your way to emotional fulfillment, everything will be okay. But I have found in my travels, it's quite the opposite. Here's the lesson, okay? You can't hate yourself into feeling better. You can't despise yourself and bully yourself into having a relationship with you. My anxiety only got better when I allowed it to appear as it was in my life. The second that I just sat there and let it happen, it not only happens at a much lesser frequency, but it happens way less intensely. And I've accepted that, like, it's probably never gonna go away, okay? It's probably, like, the baseline sort of background of my life is probably always going to be colored by anxiety. And it's okay. The harder that I tried to fight and mask it and pretend that it wasn't happening, or put myself in situations where I knew I was gonna be anxious and uncomfortable, but I would force myself to muscle through it, the worse it became. And the reason is because your brain, subconsciously, right, it does a lot of like processing. The more that you put yourself in precarious situations or you ignore how you feel, your brain is just internalizing the message that like you don't care about it and that you're going to continue putting it in danger. So if you take an anxious brain that is already primed to look for danger where there is no danger and put it in a body where it feels unsafe, of course it's going to be worse. For a long time, I really considered myself to be like a utilitarian. That shit's fucking easy, okay? Discipline is easy. I know that everybody makes a big deal about, oh my God, it's so hard to be disciplined. You gotta get up at 4 a.m. and jog around the fucking town, and then I gotta come home and eat a kale smoothie and journal about my feelings. Bro, that's performative discipline, okay? Discipline is easy. Do you know what's not easy? Softness is hard. Accepting help. Admitting, not even to other people, to yourself, and then to other people, that you need help. Accepting your emotions without trying to change them, without trying to run from them, without trying to like banish them to the shadow realm, sitting there and feeling your emotions, accepting help, accepting the fact that you need to rest, resting, community, softness, reaching out to a friend. That shit is hard. Every time I have to do it, I feel like I am literally being like stabbed in the heart. I'm like, you know what? Just disembowel me again. Like, just no, like it's so hard. It's so hard. It's a muscle that you like have to work. When you're used to being hyper independent, like independence is easy. I don't have to tell nobody where I am or what I'm doing or fucking ask them for help. I'm gonna do it myself. I'm independent. When you are forced because of your mental health to reach out to someone that you love and you have to trust them on a very like visceral, like gaze into the abyss that is my soul level, that shit is hard. I meet a lot of people in my travels and talk to a lot of my friends who are trying, and myself included, I'm in that boat, are trying to unlearn this habit of like coming down really hard on yourself in order to like banish your anxiety. And psychologically, it's hurting your chances of overcoming anxiety, because again, it's showing your brain that like the world that it's afraid of doesn't care about it, but you don't care about it either. Here's what I've learned, and don't learn it the hard way like I had to. Let me tell it to you now in the easy way. Nobody is coming to save you, okay? I know that's scary. Nobody's coming to save you. Nobody's coming to get you. Nobody's coming to do your emotional labor. Nobody's coming to fix your relationship with yourself. Nobody is coming to feel your emotions for you. From birth to death, the only person that we have reliably forever until the end of time, unfortunately, is ourself. And that might feel overwhelming and scary and lonely. And for me, it still is, okay? But unfortunately, that is what it is. The harder you hate yourself, you are literally despising your companion for life. Nobody got you really 100,000,000% every second of every day, except for you. Make your home within yourself. You have to like yourself, okay? You don't have to blindly toxic positivity, love everything about yourself and be like, I won't criticize my behavior or my whatever, my any aspect of my life because I'm perfect. That's not what liking yourself means. But if in your heart of hearts you believe like, I'm trash, I'm garbage, I'm a bad person, I'm an anxious mess, I'm depressed, it's all my fault, I'm not allowed to express myself, I'm shit, I have bad news for you. You're setting yourself up for failure. The most miserable person you know, the messiest, backstabbingest, two-faced bitch that everybody hates, who just lives seemingly to cause contention and abuse other people, the root of all of that is a deep, 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 deep well of self-hate. If there is one thing that I can tell you that rings absolutely true at my big age of 27, it's that the most hateful shit-ass people that nobody wants to deal with generally are consumed. They are living in a bubble of their own, like, just pure self-hatred. And like, that kind of brings me to my next point. Community is important. Again, I know that like we live in a society and like the messaging, I think, for a lot of young people is do it yourself. Do it yourself. You can do it all yourself. Like, community is garbage. Don't get a girlfriend because she's gonna siphon your bank account. Don't get a boyfriend because all men are misogynists. And it's like, whoa, you need a community. Humans are pack animals by our very nature, our very biology. It is a propaganda lie, by the way, that societies are made better when we outcast the sick or the people or the disabled or the people that aren't doing so well or people that are like dependent on society's whatever, emotionally, financially, physically. Like, our caveman ancestors took great care of the weak among them. Community will set you free, I'm telling you. And it doesn't mean that like, well, every time I'm anxious and there's whatever, a social event, I have to forego my anxiety and just ignore it and go to the event. No, but like, again, it feeds into communication. I had my remission party twice. And originally this video was supposed to be about that. So let me tell you about that. And hopefully it will help to really like bring home my point about community. So I had my big pool party. I had my pool party, rather I planned my pool party. I spent $4,000 on this party. I got a DJ, I got catering, I got an alcohol buffet, $300 on alcohol. I got several outfit changes, a spray tan, huge guest list. I invited everybody that I could think of and gave them all a +1. Huge thing, right? Planned for 4 months, made decorations, paid $200 to rent a pool. Like, it was crazy. I got there. Big anxiety attack. I was disassociated the entire day For those like whatever hour maybe that I was there at that party, I cannot tell you what we talked about or to whom I spoke to, like fully on another planet disassociated. I had to leave my own party to go home and feel like shit and like cry and panic and throw up. I went back to the party just to bust open my uterus piñata, and then the party was over and everyone went home. A bunch of people left after I left. I didn't even get to see them. I spent $400 something on cake. I had 3 different cakes. I had cupcakes. I didn't get any of it. I didn't enjoy my party. I felt like I had thrown my funeral. Like I had spent all this money for people to come and celebrate me while I was nowhere to be found. And that's not a good feeling. Kind of like, I was like, you know what? I'm not ready to feel like the embarrassment, the shame, the disappointment, the shittiness of what has happened here. And so I kind of buried it for about a week. And then on a random Tuesday, I decided, okay, I'm finally ready to like confront this flop of a party. 2 weeks, puddle of tears, went to group therapy, puddle of tears. It was like, everything sucks and I hate being alive. And also I hate myself. Like so disappointed. And you know, what was even worse was like people brought me gifts because it was also my like super late birthday celebration. And like the gifts were so like, it was so like people that really care about you, that know you so well, that like give you gifts that show, and it has nothing to do with like being expensive or being like, oh my god, this is like the nicest gift. Like example, my friend got me cha. That's it. Just loose leaf cha, Indian brand, regular ass. It went to an Indian grocery store, got me some tea. I was like, are you I was like, this is fucking fantastic. Are you kidding me? This is the greatest gift ever. Like, you know me. You know that I'm in my house making cha with some fucking dude, bro. Not dude like D-U-D-E, dude like milk in Hindi. D-H-O-O-D. It showed that like, you know, all these people, because I only invited people that had like supported me in my magical, mystical cancer journey. All of these people not only cared about me, but like knew me deeply, and like came because they gave a shit, and I couldn't be there. And it felt bad. And I was like, it's not fair. I've done all of this work, you know, to like overcome anxiety. And like I had anxious psychosis post-palliative care. Like I was having schizophrenia symptoms. It was not a good time. And I was like, I've done all this work and I still, I can't enjoy this thing that I set out to plan purely for enjoyment, for nothing else. I disassembled all of my decor. I reassembled all the decor. I made everything by hand. I literally like dug through the trash for like extra cardboard and shit. Made everything. I'll insert something somewhere. Made everything. Decorated my apartment myself. We did it potluck style. I was honest with my friends. I was like, look, I don't have the budget to do crazy ass food. I was like, can everybody just bring a dish? I'll do a little charcuterie board. I'll make 2 focaccias because I have the ingredients. And they did. And you know, I only invited like 4 friends. I invited my 4 friends who I've grown up with, that we've been friends for 17 years. Because I was like, I need people with whom I feel the most safe, who know me so well and who will not like be weirded out if I have to have some kind of a mental breakdown at my own party. They were so amazing and helpful. They helped me throw a redo party for myself to make sure that I didn't have to like spend more money than I had and like didn't have to do extra effort. You need a community. It like, as somebody who, separate from the cancer, just in general, like growing up, right? I was so ostracized, I was so bullied, and I was rejected by my own parents, and I like was just really like sad and lonely. I always kind of felt like human connection. It's like a party I wasn't invited to. I wasn't allowed to like partake in that. By having these experiences with my friends, it was like coming in from the cold. Do you know what I mean? So I guess what I'm trying to say in this is a very informal like video. It's again, I don't have a point. I wanted to like share some things that I've been going through as we enter peak PTSD season for me. Like anxiety and depression, okay, it happens to everybody. It's most likely gonna happen. We don't really live in the most hospitable and friendly world, okay? Unfortunately, it's okay. If you can take no other solace from this video than this thing I'm about to say now, let it be that you're not alone at all. There are people you know, there are people you know well that are in their house anxious and also depressed. It's okay. It's all good. It's a part of life. It happens. It doesn't need a grandiose reason. It doesn't need a big dramatic trauma event to occur. Like, things change in our lives and sometimes it just tips us over the edge. It's okay. Even if you have to inchworm along, second by second, moment by moment. Don't even take it day by day. Don't even take it hour by hour, okay? Take it second by second. I promise you can do it. I promise you can, even if it's slow. You cannot force your way out of a burnout. If your body is telling you we need to be a puddle of tears, be a puddle of tears. Treat yourself gently and tell yourself it's okay, and sit with your bad feelings and ask them, what would you like to tell me? Because more often than not, there is something that your body is trying to communicate that is hidden under those layers of uncomfortable feelings. The only way to grow, unfortunately, to everybody's dismay, is through great discomfort. Personal growth, it's not comfortable. And do you know how I know? Because again, think of those messy ass miserable bitches that you have met in your life. Those do nothing ass bitches. Those do nothing ass bitches will never, ever, ever peer into the abyss within and improve their lives. There is no space for self-improvement. It is easier to be cultish and miserable and shitty and ostracize other people and make up rumors and lies and try to make everybody's life a fucking misery than it is to sit there and be uncomfortable and like grow. You have to be uncomfortable to grow. Don't think of depression and anxiety as this like horrible death sentence, really, is what I'm trying to say. It is simply the catalyst through which we can grow. It's fine, and also nobody's looking at you, no one's keeping track, no one's watching, and no one cares. So, and that really is only a wisdom that sets in like when your frontal lobe develops. You're like, nobody is looking. I promise you, nobody is looking. And if you're going through a horrible depression now, girl, in 6 months, nobody's gonna remember or care, and you have nothing to be embarrassed about. So, I don't know. I hope that maybe this helped. If nothing else, then to just be your quarterly reminder that like you're not alone. We're all going through it. I'm going through it. And the greatest trick that mental illness plays is convincing you that it's just you and that you're wrong and stupid and undeserving and that everybody else is fine. Girl, nobody else is fine. And the people that are like pretending to be fine are very deeply unfine. And on some level, they know and they're running for it. Accept yourself as you are. And if as you are is a little bit on shaky ground, that's okay too. Depressed you, anxious you, traumatized you, they deserve love. They don't have to be perfect to be deserving of it. They don't have to be totally healed to be deserving of it. They don't have to be making crazy ass leaps and bounds and strides of progress to be deserving of it. By virtue of existing, by the way, your birthright is unconditional love. That is your birthright. You are entitled to nothing else on earth than the ability to be loved as you are at all times. So have a good day. Let's break for lunch and then we can all have our afternoon mental breakdown. I love you very much, okay? I do. We can do it. I believe in the enduring power of the human spirit, and I think that our community is really very wonderful. If you would like to interact with our really wonderful community, you may check out my TikTok. If you are artist brained, you may check out the Hinstagram. If you like these more sort of informal heart-to-hearts, I have started posting more of them on Patreon, so you may be inclined to join me on Patreon. There is a super free tier, by the way, and there's a lot of really cool stuff on there, and you get to vote on content. So, Patreon. Check out the main channel, Spazzatic Studio, and yeah, I have some fun stuff coming for you, I think, on this channel and the main channel. So I will see you when I see you. Keep it weird, keep it wonderful, and keep it heart-centered, babies. Bye.